Welcome back to the Geek Gospel.
The new and improved channel. You're going to be seeing some subtle nuance changes today. Welcome back, Evan. We're here. Happy Tuesday.
We're here. Today on the show, we're going to talk a little bit about that huge Thunderbolts rebrand that we've been seeing posters of. Is it a spoiler or is it a marketing genius ploy? And also, Squid Game 3 has dropped a pretty in-depth teaser that we're going to get into. And then later in the show, we're going to play a little game of will they or won't they?
I like it. I love to hear it. We got some exciting new changes, updates, and information regarding the release of Thunderbolts and its new title. And Bloodlines is breaking some boundaries, setting some records. And we're going to talk about that too.
Boundaries.
And a new trailer for GTA 6. We're going to talk about that as well. Before we get into that, Evan, have you watched anything excited? How's your morning going? How's your week been going?
It's been going good. I can't believe it's only Tuesday. So
I thought it was Tuesday all day yesterday.
I wish, because then that means today would be Wednesday. But it's been going good. Been getting into some good stuff. Let's just get into it right away. I want to talk about Sunday. We finally got to see the Righteous Gemstones series finale. And I do have to say it was fantastic. And
I gotta be honest, I don't think I've watched the last season, so I'm like so far back and it sucks because it's such an amazing show. It's so fucking good.
It is really good. I would say that this season overall was not great, but the finisher was really good. And I even found myself getting like a little bit teary-eyed in a way. It definitely tugged on the heartstrings just because like you're with these people for so long and they're spoiled, shitty, wealthy brats. And so it was interesting premise. You know, Danny McBride was saying when the show came out, or before the show came out, he was trying to do like a gangster, type show, but he couldn't find an in. And then he was back home in Charleston and stumbled upon, these mega churches, and he clicked in his brain, like, why don't I mix that theme of like these gangster type people, but they are part of a mega church. And so what a genius idea. And to see it pay off in 4 seasons, which I think he tied Eastbound and Down. Eastbound Down was 4 seasons, I believe. So to see him, go, and then Vice Principals was a 2 and done planned out story. So to see it go this far, and then Adam Devine, John Goodman, Walton Goggins, Edie Patterson. I mean, these people are just so hilarious. And Danny McBride, of course, leading the charge, but such a great cast. And then even, that young actor who's playing Jimmy Olsen in Superman. So it's just like the cast was stellar. And
I love that actor. He's so just like, makes you he's just so rattled all the time. Every character he plays, he's just so fucking rattled all the time.
He's like very wholesome,
He is. He plays it so well.
Jimmy.
What's his name again? Do you remember? I can't remember. You have to look. Actually, I have the IMDb right here. I can probably just pull it real quick.
I forgot what it is.
Skylar Skylar Gazondo? No idea that was his name. Wow. Okay. Wow, that's wild. So I really like this show. I also really like. I think one of the biggest gems of the show is still anything that he touches not intended actually. Walton Goggins, dude. It's just like his presence all the time, dude. He is just in everything he's in now. It is just
the funny thing is before White Lotus and before Fallout, he's been doing Baby Billy on this show.
Oh yeah,
2019, and it's just like, and now he was saying, going from White Lotus. He filmed White Lotus and then went straight back to Righteous Gemstones, both on HBO.
Right.
He was like telling Danny, like, give me a minute to like kind of readjust to Baby Billy again. Like, I'll get there. Like, but he was like, yeah, the first day it kind of like messed with me, but he is so good in this. And I'm so happy people are finally seeing his acting chops because his range is incredible. He's not just the villain. And I think when I first saw it in was Hateful Eight. He was so funny in Hateful Eight. I loved him.
Oh, I forget. Yeah, he has my favorite line in Hateful Eight, which is the "I fucking knew it." That line gets me every 100%. Time, dude.
He's like me, god damn it. You know, like when he's like, you could have killed me. He's like me, god damn it. And it was like, oh my God. So I'm really, really happy that the show was able to end in the way that they wanted to. HBO definitely gives creatives the right to do that. And to start with the opening of the late 1800s with Bradley Cooper, Oscar nominee, who is the patriarch of the Gemstones that we didn't know like years before. And then to bookend it with this ending, fantastic. So I recommend it. It's not for everyone. It's a little bit out there, but man, it's good. So watch that. And then The Last of Us, episode 4. I've seen a lot of discourse online. I'm a little disappointed that this is the most uneven show that we've ever seen. And I'm like, okay, like, have you seen Westworld? But I was like, interesting. Like, people are kind of giving up on The Last of Us so quickly after, spoiler alert, Pedro Pascal not being on the show anymore. And so I found it very interesting because I, for one, really liked the episode. I think the love story between Ellie and Dina is fascinating in this world that they were both born in. We finally got introduced to Jeffrey Wright's character, which we saw in the trailer. So it's not a spoiler. And I love his introduction. It's shocking and fantastic. And I sound like Tony Stark with Ant-Man. Anyone else have some shocking and fantastic powers? They're not done.
Yeah, I love that.
And so and we finally got to see the famous from the video game, the guitar scene, which is beautiful.
Right.
And she does what's the song? From Aha. And so I really enjoyed it. I still think it has juice, and I still think the actors in it are good. But what I'm seeing online is that it was a very uneven episode. Like, we have one up and then we have one down. I didn't feel that way. I feel like there's a lot more to come, especially because they split this season in half. So we're getting 7 now, and then we're getting 7 probably towards the end of the year, I would imagine, or maybe the beginning of 2026. But I really I'm still enjoying it. So it's good.
I mean, the discourse that's been around it, even since the last season kind of came out and people had already kind of had things to say about it. But I think the biggest thing regarding this season is that, like, I think we spent a lot of time with these characters. In the first season, it was a little bit slower pace. It wasn't just action all the time. And we've gotten some big set pieces so far this season. But I think people got a little taste of what a really good season can feel like. And so people are kind of like dragging this season down because of that. And it kind of sucks that people are so quickly to kind of start giving up on the show the moment that Pedro Pascal is essentially removed, as one of the main characters, one of the mainstays. So and we saw a lot of this discussion kind of happening before when, in regards to, Bella Ramsey and her role as Ellie just in general, and people accepting that. It seems that people aren't willing to continue following her specifically on this journey, which is unfortunate because, like you said, there's a ton of really good story to tell. There's a lot of really great and interesting things going on. And I really hope that people stick around because it's great writers. These first episodes were really, really good. And, if you just stick around for the ride, I think that we could be in for something really special, and just give it a chance. I don't know. I'm trying not to be too hasty. Given the first, these last couple episodes, I really enjoyed the first few episodes. And these newer episodes aren't that bad. They're not bad. They're not bad. They're just a slow walk. There's gonna be a slow walk, and it's fine.
There's gonna, when something so big happens in a show, especially with someone as big as Pedro, there's gonna be a transition growing period. So I think people might be a little bit too quick to judge these days, and they're like, what have you done for me lately? Kind of society. And I think we should stick with it. I think season 1, especially episode 3 with Nick Offerman last year showed us, or 2 years ago, showed us how good this show can be, even when it's not Joel or Ellie on screen. So I would stick with it, and I'm still really liking it. So yeah, and then on top of that, God, HBO just keeps crushing it. I watched not this recent episode, but last week's episode of The Rehearsal, and I've also heard some discourse that Nathan Fielder went in on Paramount Plus because he had an episode that basically was kind of calling out Paramount Plus for taking down an episode of his previous show that they're showing all 4 seasons of. And they took down one episode that has to do with the Holocaust. And he called them anti-Semitic. And he did like a whole, because it's like a rehearsal thing, he did a rehearsal of like telling Paramount how he feels, and like he dressed like Paramount's like like studio in like, it looks like Nazi regalia. It's like,
it's almost like the scene with Mike Myers in what movie is that where he plays
Inglorious?
Inglorious Bad.
Yes.
I was thinking it was him when they walk in that room. It's just like the banners are all down. It's exactly like that. It is Inglorious, right?
Yeah, I think so. And so it had like Paramount Plus banners, and
correct us if I'm wrong.
He had a German actor being like, he was like, well, it's coming off as you only care about you, and it was like really good. And he was like, can we do that again? It's like,
yeah.
And so, he is just such a genius. The way that, he, in this season, if you guys haven't seen it, The Rehearsal basically shines light on different themes. This season, ironically, is about the airplane crashes that we've been seeing and airplane safety. And so he basically hires flight airplane pilots to play themselves, or actors to play alongside them, and basically is trying to understand like why these crashes are happening. And he's basically saying that a lot of them are happening because the co-pilot does not speak up to the captain, and the way that he does it is just so funny. If you,
I like how they frame it around like a comfortability in the cockpit and communication.
Yes,
the cockpit. I like the way
and they're gauging their like comfortability in it. And so, if you guys love like dark humor, like kind of like blunt, but also kind of like spot on and genius, like even my wife Erica, like she isn't the biggest Nathan Fielder fan, but sometimes he drops these like deadpan lines that are just so funny, and she'll like laugh her ass off. So I would give it a chance. Nathan Fielder is a genius. So I would definitely give it a chance. And I think that's it. I haven't watched too much since we talked on Sunday when we did our Thunderbolts reaction.
Yeah. What about you? A busy television day. Not a lot on television. I still have a lot to catch up with in like Andor and whatnot. But I did watch it. I did have the opportunity to watch a couple of movies, especially with the family. With the family, we watched Wonka, the Timothée Chalamet Wonka, which was fun. Nice. I didn't catch it in theaters or anything like that, but we had a really good time with it. I like the way that they kind of repurpose and reintroduce the songs. That was a good time.
I love that song.
And I think he did a really good job. I like Timothée Chalamet. I'm enjoying him in the Dune franchises and Call Me by Your Name and everything that he's been really kind of really sinking his teeth into and really trying to solidify himself as a really, really great actor, as we know with his speech at the awards. But I thought he did a really good job with this. I thought it was going to be extremely campy, and I thought I was going to go into it kind of like, not really caring too much, kind of putting it on for the kids, and it was going to be a good time. But I found myself predominantly being one of the ones watching it. Between me and Paige, we were like at the end of it, we're like, we love that. That was great. The kids eventually kind of started to move on at some point. But did you ever catch Wonka? Did you ever catch it in theaters? Did you watch it on streaming?
No, I did see it on streaming. It's not something that Erica would ever want to watch, so it was kind of hard to get to the theaters, but I watched it as soon as it came out to streaming, just because I am a musical guy, and I do like Timothée Chalamet, and I think this was the right move for him. I think that stretching what he does in this way is really smart. A musical a property that people love. It was a big challenge for him, and I think he exceeded with flying colors. And I really enjoyed the storyline. I really enjoyed like his happy-go-lucky young Wonka in this world that they created. I mean, this is the Paddington director, correct?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly.
And
so this comes from director Paul King, who directed Paddington 2, the Mighty Boosh as well. A couple other smaller things, but those are the primary ones he's known for.
Very good director at tugging on the heartstrings and making it fun. I mean, a lot of people say like Paddington 1 or 2 is like the greatest film of all time. So
yeah, I've heard that.
So he is, I think, the perfect person for this movie. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. I had a good time with it as well.
I mean, it helps that it was co-written by like a partner he's done work with, Simon Farnaby, who worked with him on Paddington 2. He also worked on Your Highness, so like some good like comedic acting.
Danny McBride
that they kind of tried to and who else is in that? What is it? Your Highness. Who is it? Is that James Franco? James Franco, yeah. Funny man, I forgot all about that. But yeah, that was a good movie. I thought the set pieces were really fun, and I thought that was exciting, and I thought they did a really good job of kind of keeping it contained and not making it so meta Wonka universe, that it was a bit more like contained to this specific story.
Yeah, like you didn't have to see the others,
right? You don't have to see any of the Wonkas really to have enjoyed this.
I forgot to mention also the director on the Last of Us episode is Kate Herron, and if you guys don't know, Kate Herron was the director of every episode of Loki season 1, and this director, she continues to absolutely crush it in the way that she films and directs these episodes. She is a standout, and I cannot wait to see more of her. Kate Herron.
Yeah, Kate Herron's a boss. She's absolutely
and solid. So when I saw her name, I'm like, oh, Loki, like awesome. So it was really cool to see her name. So I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that.
No, all good. And then we watched Companion.
Fantastic.
With, Jack Quaid and Sophie. So what is her name? Sophie Thatcher. Fantastic actress. I really, really like Sophie Thatcher. She kind of relatively came on my radar when she like showed up in the the Boba Fett of all projects.
Oh yeah, she was on the Vespa bikes.
Oh, actually, I take that back. Yellow Jackets. Yellow Jackets was my first foray with her. She does a really, really, really good job in. And then of course she's in Heretic, and she's just picking some really cool projects in this. And I thought Jack Quaid also did a really good job of playing that scummy kind of guy, kind of like a loser. It looks like he's been playing quite a bit between this and Scream and whatnot. What's up?
Is she also? I think she's going to be in Mr. and Mrs. Smith season 2 as a new Mrs. Smith. I think it's her. I thought it was her, and then the dude from Anora, the one that she marries, like the main guy.
Yeah.
I think he's in it as well. They are the two Mr. and Mrs. Smiths. I'm pretty sure.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then also she was in Maxine, Heretic. I think she is just like every project that she's choosing is just elevating her. And I saw this movie in theaters, Companion, with Erica, and it was so fun in theaters, like people laughing their asses off, like surprising moments. Like it was a really good time. I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. So
yeah, no, we loved it. It was super engaging. It was super fun. We need more small thrillers like that, like those bodies, like the movies that have like the really good comedy, but they're kind of brutal. Those are fun. How did it perform? I'm curious.
He's writing The Faculty.
The director.
He apparently he's writing he was a writer on The Faculty remake, and then also he wrote for Blue Mountain State.
Oh, it's a good movie. God damn, I love that movie.
I know.
I love that show. I mean, sorry, I love that show. Oh,
no, I know. I know that's your show. So that's cool.
But yeah, so that's what we've watched. Let's dive into some news.
Let's do it.
A couple things that have come out. Why don't you kick us off with a little bit of something that you want to talk about?
We can't do this is the quest for news.
This is a quest for news. Long gone, baby. Maybe one day.
Awesome. Well, let's get into this. So I want to start with the Thunderbolts. And as we know, Thunderbolts dropped this weekend. Word of mouth has been fantastic. Right now, the audience score and the critic score is sitting well above 90%, which hasn't happened for a Marvel movie in a long time. And so after the weekend, though, we have been seeing a rebranding of sorts with the title. And this has been popping up not only on Marvel social media, but on billboards as well. And so it is interesting that
I love the process of watching them kind of like put up slowly.
Yeah,
people be like, oh, they're really going all the way. There was a part of me that thought they were just going to go half and half. They're like, oh, Thunderbolts is basically,
I just think,
and that's how they were going to have it. I was surprised they went with the whole rebrand.
I just think it's interesting this quickly after the first weekend to start putting out there that this is actually the new Avengers. One, it could be a genius move because who doesn't want to go to a new Avengers movie? Two, it could be a spoiler for the movie, so it is risky. And then three, is this too soon to reveal this title? And so this actually comes to us from comicbookmovie.com, who actually was able to track down the director Drake Schreier, who spoke to the New York Times. And he said, it felt like if Val is also trying to pull a switcheroo and sell the new Avengers to the world, that we could do that too, especially given that the asterisk has been on the movie for a year. Hopefully it doesn't feel sweaty. It feels like this was a plan and we built up to it. It's very fun. Marvel was open to embracing that. It's so interesting in this world, and Kevin Feige talks about it sometimes, where sometimes they wanted things to leak and sometimes they don't. And I think we all assume that it would be a bigger part of the conversation already. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So I want to ask you, what do you think of Jake Schreier's comments? Do you think that this is actually great because it's a conversation starter, or do you lean more on the side that this is actually kind of a spoiler for people that didn't get out to see the movie this weekend?
I think that there's a lot of people who already kind of had an assumption that the asterisk is going to mean something a little bit more as time went on. They already kind of hinted at that basically we're going to get, once you see the movie, you'll understand it all. So we went into the movie kind of knowing that. I did think it's kind of interesting, after the first weekend that they immediately went into that rebranding. But at the same time, I think that, imagine if they would have done this same thing a week from now, 2 weeks from now, it would probably be a lot more weird, to have Thunderbolts be out for nearly 2 weeks and then be and then rebrand it to the new Avengers. It would come across a little weird. I guess the bigger discussion is the rebranding worth it? And it's hard because, the conversation kind of then becomes, is it now an Avengers movie that's kind of relatively underperforming?
Right. That's
a lot of people
true.
Say, a lot of people are like, oh, I didn't realize I was watching a new Avengers movie that's grossed under however much money.
Did they do this because it's underperforming? Do you think they would have held off if it got to around 90 opening weekend, which I think I mean, Captain America did better and it's not a better movie, but if it got to 90, do you think that we would be seeing this a little bit later? Is this why they pulled the trigger a little bit sooner on the new Avengers advertising?
Yeah, probably. My guess would be that the pre-sales and everything weren't exactly there necessarily where they wanted. But also I think this is always part of their plan. I think this promotion and this remarketing and this rebranding was always part of the plan from day one. Obviously you don't have all this content, all this stuff made a day after your release, so this has always been the part. Now, whether or not they were going to always, whether or not they were sitting on whether they're going to do it, is debatable. But I think it's fun. I think it's a good way to kind of keep the conversation in people's just kind of out there on social media and keep people talking about the movie. I am surprised that they did it so quickly, though. I thought, maybe going into this next weekend, probably would have made a little bit more sense. Because there are a lot of people who haven't seen the movie, and that this is essentially a spoiler. This is a spoiler, and it's also kind of like takes away from a lot of good jokes within the movie regarding the Thunderbolts thing and all that. But it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me, even if I hadn't seen it and they did this rebranding. I don't think it would have bothered me all that much.
Even right now, us talking about this, I feel a little uneasy because I don't want to spoil anything for the movie, but they already did that. So now we have to talk about it. But even as we're going, I'm like being careful of how they present this in the movie, which I think is still a big payoff. And it does happen pretty suddenly, but it still feels a little bit uneasy to talk about this title without spoiling the movie. So it is a very interesting test. You know what I mean? Like, this is a good test to see, like, is other brands, gonna do this down the road where like it's a bait and switch with the title and they use it as a marketing ploy, because it is genius in a lot of ways. Did it happen too soon? Maybe so, but that remains to be seen, because now if it performs well in weekend 2, are we going to be like, oh, that happened because of word of mouth, or, oh, that happened because it's a new Avengers movie? Now we don't know, right?
Now, I guess it kind of begs the question, is like, is Marvel going to kind of use this as a crutch at some point down the road to basically say, this underperformed for a certain reason, or underperformed because of the name change, and maybe that was a bad idea, or maybe it overperformed and they're gonna say, oh, it was because of the name change and the marketing. So I don't know, maybe it's their way of getting tricky with it. I think it's crazy because they had so much good marketing leading up. This is one of the best marketed films ever,
100%.
honestly. And so yeah, I mean, I just hope it does well, and I hope that this doesn't stop people from going and seeing the movie or anything like that. Definitely worth seeing and definitely worth checking out. But interesting, I don't think we've ever seen a movie. Have we ever seen a movie do this where they pivot and change titles for better or for worse?
I don't
while
know.
the movie is still in theaters. I mean, I know the movie that always comes to my head is Edge of Tomorrow, Tom Cruise movie, Emily Blunt, Edge of Tomorrow, that they eventually changed to Live, Die, Repeat. And then I don't think anybody knows what the actual name of the movie is now.
It was All You Need Is Kill.
The original thing is based off something called All You Need Is Kill. And then the movie came out and they named it Edge of Tomorrow. And then I think and then they changed it on the release to Live, Die, Repeat. And
so is this gonna be new Avengers on, like, I mean, DVDs aren't a thing really anymore, but like on streaming and stuff like that, is it going to come out as New Avengers, or is it going to be Thunderbolts? Like,
I don't know. That's a good question. And I think this is actually a really good opportunity and I think I talked about this on the last episode or on one of our last episodes. I thought I've been having, but this is a really good opportunity for Thunderbolts and for Marvel in this movie, as well as Sinners, to really do something that can be really special to bring back the magic of the home release, of the digital and physical release. Sinners can do something very, very cool with it. And I know that Thunderbolts can do something very, very cool with it, especially with the name change, and the characters and the way that this has been presented in general. I can imagine a nice, like, Blu-ray 4K situation with both titles. And like, it's just like, there's something more. And I think that's a place that we need to get back to, is making home releases kind of special again. And I think that we can be. And I think these two projects in particular,
even if it's VOD, you can still make it,
or VOD. Special. Yeah, with the behind the scenes stuff, and everybody loves that stuff. And just I think there's a really good opportunity for it. And I thought this is an interesting marketing ploy, and I'm not against it, but we'll see if it has any impact, if at all.
Awesome. Well, let us know what you guys think. I mean, we didn't spoil it. It's Marvel. It's not us. Do you think that, if you didn't see the movie, are you upset because you wanted to see this in the theaters? Did this actually make you want to go to the movie more because you're interested of this title change? Let us know what you think in the comments. And we'll see how it pans out in weekend 2.
I like it.
What do you got?
All right, well, moving on. It's a big day for video games. Yeah, baby. Finally, a new release, new updates regarding Grand Theft Auto 6. People have been sort of kind of at the cusp of their frustration in regards to rescheduling and delays and all of that. But today, finally, some updates on the reasoning for their delays, which is essentially nothing more than they want people to be able to go into buildings and interact and do a lot of that more. But we got a new trailer, which is an exciting thing. And I thought it'd be nice to kind of go through it and just kind of take a peek at it and see if there's anything that really kind of
let's do it.
Anything special about it. Because have you been a fan of the Grand Theft Auto series?
Bro, we're millennials. We grew up on Grand Theft Auto. I remember playing Grand Theft Auto 2 when it was this little game where like the car goes around the town. Like it was so rudimentary, but so fun. And then when GTA 3 came out, it was like for PlayStation, it was like game over. Like this is the best. You can do whatever you want. You can pull people out of their car, take their car. You could shoot up. It was just like, I mean, it's violent, of course, but but it was just like, the living in the world thing. It wasn't a thing in video games where you could roam the world, go on missions. And so Grand Theft Auto was really that first video game that did that. And so to see this graphics and what it's become, this is incredible.
Yeah,
this is absolutely incredible.
And I got to be honest, when I was watching the trailer for the first go around this morning, I was very impressed by the way that it looks, by the subtle nuances in the way that.
But this isn't gameplay, right? This is this is
very much not. Yeah, these are cutscenes. Okay, as best as we know, we don't really know.
Because if this is gameplay, this is wild. I don't.
No, there's no way. Look at these angles. There's absolutely no way. I agree. When like San Andreas and everything like that, when those really started hitting those like
Vice City
specifically, when it started like getting into that larger world, that big world, it was just wild. You could do so much, and you still can. And now the game has really pivoted to like a whole different world where people make money through this game, through different mods and stuff like that, and whatever ways they do it. I've never been a part of it, but it's crazy how much more in depth and into the kind of zeitgeist of society that GTA 6 has become, so much so that any conversation about it is just wild. The delays are just fucking, people just can't handle it.
I know, but if it's worth it, then it's worth it, and people are going to eat it up. Because when GTA 5 came out, that thing, it didn't just come out and the conversation was over. It kept building momentum with like the different mods and the different things you could do with it, and the different hacks and like cheat codes you could do with it. And so it still like was going for a very long time, and the graphics were insane. So I hope the wait is great, is worth it. I would say, we were talking about The Last of Us. Video game storytelling has just taken another level. And I think if anything, this trailer has shown that we can, be so into the story that it feels like we're in a movie. And like this trailer itself, this love story between these two criminals, and I heard like, I was looking at, there's like 5 different cities that you can go to. One of which is very Vice City-esque. I think we go back there. And so it's just so immersive, and you feel like you're a part of the story. And that kind of storytelling, like, I want a movie. You know what I mean? Like, I want a GTA movie. Like, and it didn't used to be like that. So to see what GTA started as and what it's become is fantastic. But like you, I just want the game out, man. Like, this is great. It kind of subsides a little bit, but we have another year, right? Before it drops?
Yeah, I think like the new date is like May 26th or something like that, or something incredibly absurd. It's so far away, which was like, what was the last day? Do you recall?
No, I don't. I do not.
Let me ask you this. Is GTA 6 whatsoever going to light a little fire under you at all to buy any new system, to play this game, to be a part of this movement at all? Or are you so far removed now that you're just like, I can't even jump into it?
No, it's not. I mean, I'm an old man. I got wrist injuries. It's hard for me to stay on a game for a while. Yeah, I was trying to add that picture. It wasn't going back for some reason. I grew up on it. I love it. I have my PS2. I have my Vice City. If I feel willing to jump back into it, I can and I have. But I have a lot of friends that have that stuff. And so I think it's better for me not to get into that. It's already hard for me to watch The Last of Us when me and Erica are in the living room. So to kick her out to play some video games, I don't know if that is go or not, but I don't want to blame it on her. But I am very interested in playing it at some point. I really want to. So who knows, maybe I'll get the itch, but like, I don't think I'm going to spend like $500 to get like the PS. What are we on 5 to get the PS5 to get the game? How much is the game going for now? Like over, right?
I think the discussion is like $120 or something like wild. Insane like that.
That's wild. Like that is half of a Nintendo Switch. Or not the new, the old Nintendo Switch. Now the new one's like 400, right? It's something like that. It like doubled.
I think it is. Yeah, it's like 400 like that.
It's the price tag mostly for me, I would say. Not my wife, Erica. If you're watching, I'm not blaming you.
So it is gonna have 6 maps: Vice City, Leonida Keys,
Leonida DiCaprio,
Grass Rivers, Port Gellhorn, Ambrosia, and Mount Calaga National Park. For those, there's a ton of screenshots and a bunch of images released as well. So go check that out if you're a fan.
Awesome.
And if you plan on being in the game, and if you're excited about it, I want to know about it. So put it into the comments and let us know what you guys think. If you guys are excited for GTA, what do you guys play it on? What else are you guys playing right now? Because we're very, very much interested, and we'd like to have more discussions within the game world. So let's that's GTA 6. What do you got for us, Evan? Let's move on from that.
Awesome. With that down, I wanted to get into this. So in 2021, a Netflix show came out of nowhere and basically became the most talked about and watched show at the time. And that is, of course, Squid Game. And why is it not showing our pictures? And Squid Game took the world by storm. Everyone was discussing it. It was the hottest show around. I remember I was traveling to Europe with my wife. I'm watching it on the plane, and I had to look around me because everyone is watching on the plane. So I politely was like, hey, are you at this part? Because I don't, I'm sitting right next to you. I don't want to spoil anything. So like everyone was watching it. I'm watching it in our hotel room in the morning while Erica's still sleeping. It was a huge phenomenon. And then we were like, when are we getting Squid Game 2? Because it wasn't really planned. And Squid Game 2 came out earlier or late 2024, right? Late 2024. And I, for one, thought it was fantastic. And we did hear that they were kind of doing this thing where it was going to end off in a huge cliffhanger, and that Squid Game 3, the final season, would come out in June. And so we've gotten some teasers, but we finally got a main teaser trailer today, and it looks fantastic. Keep in mind, this trailer is under a minute, but we do see a lot of our main character, Guy Hun, and I, for one, cannot wait for the finale. I think this show is fantastic. It is exciting. It is engaging. The twists and turns, the nostalgia of playing like games that you played when you were a kid, and then how it went viral. I mean, with the first game, interesting. With the first game, with like the cookie, cutting out the triangle and stuff like that. And then there was that game from this season where you have to pick up the dice. you like drop it all at a time, and then you gotta pick it up and then put it on your hand, and then you see it go viral. Like everyone's
like
trying
crazy game of jacks.
Yeah, everyone's trying to do that game. So I for one thought that was fantastic. So I really think, I'm excited. So this bad boy comes out June 27th. So we are only a month
Isn't that crazy?
and a half away. I know my boy Chris did not.
I have a confession. I have not
2.
seen Squid Games 2. Way to throw me under the bus. I have not seen Squid Games 2.
But
And it's not because I haven't wanted to, because I loved Squid Games 1.
No. And I want to
really
gauge your excitement. Like, did you get to see the teaser trailer? And are you excited not just to play catch up, but to actually get to see the finale of this story?
I am excited, and even though I haven't seen the second one, I'm still excited to kind of jump back into it. I love this world, and like you said, it was a phenomenon, and I was just as engaged as the rest of the world when this came on. For me, it just became a matter of not finding the time. Squid Games, like a lot of these other shows, is so like you have to pay attention. You have to, obviously, because it's in another language, but it's just so there's deep and it's complex and there's a lot of things going on, and it's you got to really pay attention to those things. And I am a habitual on my phone as I watch something, unless I'm truly engaged. Like the first 3 episodes of season 2 of Andor, like I was fucking phone down, so engaged, But I find myself doing that with a lot of other projects, and Squid Games is one of those ones. Like if you have your eyes down for 5 minutes, you can't listen. So like you've missed 5 minutes of story,
Right.
And that's the reason I haven't gotten back to it. I really want to. I just want to make sure that I have the time and I have the ability to really focus on it. That being said, I haven't watched it. Yeah, and I haven't watched the trailer for season 3. I passed it a couple times and I was gonna watch it, but I don't want to spoiler. I don't want to spoil anything for myself that I haven't seen. So I am excited for this. I love this franchise. I think this franchise is cool. I think it's interesting how it kind of came out of nowhere as a cultural phenomenon, with season 1 essentially being a kind of standalone series of its own.
Right.
And then that pivot into, okay, let's do additional seasons. And we see that in how long, what was the gap between season 1 and season 2? It was about 2 years. And then this gap between season 2 and season 3 is like a year?
This was 3 years. And then, like I said, season 2 dropped in December. So it's 6 months to conclude.
Yeah, 6 months. Like that's crazy, which is cool. I think we all want.
He needed time to let's map out how we want this to end. So I hope, because he did take that time, just like with Severance, just like with Shogun, who I hear it's coming out like 2028 or something like that, which is insane. But I hope because of that time that the ending pays off and that it's worth it, because we've seen, a big time gap between seasons, and it's kind of like, okay, like I need to get pulled back in. And I, for one, was pulled back in pretty good, I feel like, on season 2. So I'm excited that it's only 6 months. We're fresh off of it, coming out just in December, this one in June. And so I am ready to finally, get to the end and see how this ends for our main character, for our hero, who, is a fantastic actor and who's gone on to do The Acolyte, and we'll see him in more stuff. But, I also love how it has shined a light on Korean actors and how fantastic a lot of them are. So I can't wait to see what they do next as well, which is really a cool aspect of it. Because now you're going to be like, oh, Squid Game guy. Awesome. And so, they had Squid Game guy in it. Nice. Or a Squid Game girl. So I can't wait to see beyond of it, but I'm glad that we're getting a finite ending, and then we'll see spinoffs. We already saw the reality show, which I don't know if you've seen, but it's fantastic. The reality show is on another level. And so I think there's potential to still be in this world, but at least for Gi-hun, this will end in June. And I love that it's contained with his story. And then we'll see someone else, I'm sure, in Squid Game, because this has become a phenomenon and they're going to squeeze every penny out of it. So can't wait to
absolutely. See it. Yeah, I mean, it's no secret, how long it took the creator, Huang Dong Huick, sorry if I butchered that, to get this kind of pushed through and kind of get this into development finally. I think he said he's working on this for 10 plus years until finally Netflix finally gave him the green light. And then after its success, it just kind of showed that everybody was doubling down and prepared to go. And I think they filmed season 2 and 3 nearly back to back. So I'm excited for that. And I'm also excited for the creator and what he has kind of going on and coming up eventually down the road. Obviously, he's finishing up Squid Games. He's only done one other a few other pieces, probably a bit more catered to I don't know. He hasn't really done much outside of Squid Game. I think this is hyper focused, but it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of projects he decides to pick up once Squid Game has eventually come and gone, and it's behind us, and he's looking to do future projects.
I hope that's
what route he takes as a filmmaker, because the fact that he's predominantly lived
in this world
here in this world, like, I'm really curious as to what else he wants to do, and I think he has a really good voice, and I would definitely be excited for him to do something. Yes. I don't know what, but I could definitely see some fun stuff. I can see Marvel coming for him right away.
Because this does have to do with like classism and wealth and poverty, I do see some kind of like White Lotus type show that deals.
I was going to go there, or Parasite-ish kind of situation.
But it deals.
I didn't want to make that correlation because it's two Korean filmmakers.
No, I know what you're saying, but it's similar themes. No, I think you're right. So I do see him using these themes in some other kind of capacity. So I, for one, am also very excited to see what he does next. But for some reason, I do see him living in this world a lot longer than he probably wants to, just because this is such a big name now and a big product. So I think we're just going to get a lot more Squid Game.
Yeah. There is something I want to put on the radar real quick. And this just kind of came out of, it didn't really come out of nowhere, but I was kind of looking at the creator, like what else he's done and all that. And he has a film under his belt called The Fortress. Came out in 2017. It's the synopsis is 1963. King Inho hides in the mountains to avoid being part of the King dynasty. And I'm looking at this trailer, and this looks fucking cool. I don't know if you've seen or heard about this, but this looks like a fun movie, The Fortress. I'm thinking I'm gonna add it to my list. And
I haven't
go at some point, because even just cinematically, the cinematography it looks beautiful and it looks fun and engaging. It's kind of giving, like Shogun meets The Raid meets like a lot like a Guy Ritchie style of cinematography. So that was
fun. I see Lee Byung-hun is in it, who's the villain per se in Squid Game. So it seems like that's his muse, that's his Leo. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Moving on from that, a little funny thing I thought we could talk about that could be interesting is that as we're gearing up for the release eventually of Final Destination Bloodlines, they got some trailers out for those of you that are fans of the Final Destination franchise. We're getting a little bit of information as the days come out. But one thing I thought it would be interesting to talk about is that it set a new record, surprisingly. And this is coming to us from, I think, Entertainment Weekly, if I remember correctly. But this is, they set a new record. I think I fixed it. They set a new record for the oldest person that they lit on fire. They set on fire for a movie. Wow. And I believe, if my memory serves me correct, they are 75. This woman in Bloodlines.
They are 75.
They are 75. I'm trying to look at who this woman is. And I'm not entirely sure, even though I think I found maybe born in 1954. So maybe this is this actress Gabrielle Rose, I'm assuming is the character.
Is she a stunt person or something? Because she got lit on fire herself, right?
I'm not sure if this is a stunt person or the actress itself. I can't find the information for off the top of my head. fire record. I don't know, I'm trying to find it.
That'd be so funny. It's just a 30-year-old stunt person's like, oh, okay, well, what's the...
All right, here, Final Destination broke the world record for the oldest person ever set on fire on camera. Yvette Ferguson, maybe it's a stunt person, a 71-year-old. Wow, guy, all my fucking facts off. A 70-year-old stunt performer came out. I know I sold it pretty well, right? Came out of retirement to do the scene.
To get lit on fire.
Pretty cool. To get lit on fire. Yvette Ferguson. I thought it was funny that
hey, that's awesome.
With all the CGI and everything that you can do, that they're going the practical route. And of all movies,
man, I wish that
Final Destination Bloodlines,
I wish that stunt category for the Oscars was out this year, because then it's like she could get like the oldest, stunt person got nominated the first time the category's in the Oscars, but that's not for a couple years. But that's incredible, man. I mean,
but to highlight this actress, she's been in a lot of cool stuff. I mean, she's done stunts and been an actress. But Time Cop, Deep Rising, Child's Play, she's been in some very fun films. So it's cool to see her kind of making her return back to the film, back to cinema, in this very interesting and world record breaking way. That's pretty cool for her. You retire and then you come back to do what you do best, and you set a record doing it. Are you excited for Final Destination? It's kind of interesting how this franchise has, once again, we're talking about the cultural zeitgeist. I don't think anybody in this world can drive behind a semi loaded up with logs and not be shitting their britches.
Yeah, I always get scared. I have not visited this franchise since Final Destination 1.
Really?
And it was never my thing. I'm looking back at Final Destination 5. So the budget is $40 million, and it grossed opening weekend 18, gross US and Canada 42, and then 157 worldwide. So I'm like, is that really enough to constitute a final destination? I don't know. And I'm just like, this is like the little horror genre that could, the little horror movie that could, right? It keeps going, just like these characters. Some of them don't die. This franchise does not die. So
it will not die. And the thing is, as long as they can keep coming up with fun and exciting ways for people to die, which is an insane thing to say on a podcast. But yeah, they're just going to continue to do it. I wanted to see if you had how much they all made, right?
Yeah. So Final Destination 5, and then the one before that, The Final Destination.
Oh, I got it right here.
Which came out in 2009. Was made for $40 million also. It grossed 66 and 186 worldwide. So these things are making a little bit of money, kind of breaking.
But they're growing. Even. I mean, the first film was made on a $23 million budget and did nearly $113 million. The second film on a $26 million budget did $90 million. They're making just enough to keep moving forward. Yeah. And then the third one, 25 at $119 million.
So is this the final destination, or are we going to see more?
The thing is, they're inching closer and closer to being they've only spent probably $200 million to make all of these movies together. And it's probably grossing, at this point, getting close to the $1 billion mark, $800 million once this finally comes out, which is pretty good, which is really good for this franchise. So yeah, I definitely think as time goes on, as people are going to continue to find a love for this franchise, they're just going to continue making it because they're easy movies to make. They're fun and exciting. It's the Saw of it all, the Hostel of it all that people are fascinated with. And even deeper than that, the whole serial killer documentary of it all. People just love to live in these worlds. And I think this being these particular films they're popcorn films. People love going to movie theaters and being wowed and be like, oh my God, it's exciting. And I think they'll continue to make these films. I don't think this is Final Destination Bloodlines is going to be the last that we see of it. Not when they're making money. Something I did just notice, John Watts I didn't realize John Watts was a writer on this.
This new one?
On Final Destination Bloodlines. He's credited as one of the writers.
Now I feel like Leo. you piqued my curiosity.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you have
story
my attention.
By. They have him listed as a story by. So maybe he came in and did some rewrites or something.
Is Spider-Man gonna be in it?
Is Spider-Man gonna be it? I got.
Interesting. Okay, that makes me a little bit more interested.
Yeah. If you're a fan of Final Destination, put in the comments. I want to know, what is your favorite one in the franchise? Which one would you recommend people start with?
Are you a fire? Are you a 70-year-old fire kind of guy?
Yeah, exactly.
Let us know.
Are you water, fire, grass, or
water?
Pick your battle.
Avatar. Okay. Well, do you think it is time to get into will they or won't they? Or is there anything else you want to cover? Because I know we are coming up on 55 minutes.
Yeah, we're running a little long. So let's go ahead and jump into this will they or won't they and have a little bit of fun at the end of this episode.
Let's have a little bit of fun. Just a minute, in your thoughts, like quick thoughts that come to mind. How we're going to do this, you guys, is will they or won't they? We're going to put a question on the screen. I'm going to gauge Chris's interest, his opinion, and then I'm going to give mine, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. We have about 5 or 6. Let's jump into it. This is will they or won't they?
It sure
For the first
also,
one,
feel free to put any of your comments or any of your thoughts into the
please let us know.
Because I want to hear your guys' thoughts.
Answer yes. All right, so this is the first one. Avatar 3 will make more money than Avatar 2. Will they or won't they?
It will not. And I hate to say it, but
and we're talking about $2.3 billion.
Yeah, I mean, that is insane number to beat. I don't think Avatar 3 beats Avatar 2. I think Avatar 2 was doing something special in regards to, obviously it's James Cameron. You don't bet against James Cameron.
Yeah.
And you don't bet against Avatar 1 and what that was able to accomplish, which is just insane.
3. I think it's
now that being said, people came back for Avatar 2 because it's been so long. I don't know if that same thing is going to happen with Avatar 3, and I hope it does. Obviously, I'm a big fan of cinema. I want people to go see movies, keep theaters alive.
Did you like Avatar 2, by the way?
Yeah, it's a good movie. I think it's a good movie. I think it's a good continuation of the movie. I thought what James Cameron is doing is very exciting, and I think that if he continues this, I think he has 5. I think he has 5 total planned before he starts and does his eventual movie that he wants, whatever he wants to do. I forget what he wants to do after that. It's crazy how much some of these actors like Zoe Saldana and Sam Worthington have put so much time and so much of their life into this franchise, which they seemingly love. They seem to really love being. I mean, Zoe Saldana seems to really love being part of this franchise more than she loves being part of Marvel, if I'm being completely honest, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I get it, but yeah, I think it obviously will. It's obviously going to break $1 billion. That's quite obvious.
100%.
I just don't think it. I don't think it beats Avatar. Do you?
I tend to agree with you. I think as we've seen from 1 to 2, there is diminishing returns, but when we're talking about diminishing returns, we're still talking about billies. You know what I mean? These are $1 billion films, and so I don't think just based on the trajectory of not reaching what the first one did, and then the second one reaching 2.3 billion, then maybe the third one, it's hard to keep up that momentum with when it's so high. The bar is so high to begin with. So I agree with you. I don't think it'll go past 2.3 billion, but I do see it making well over $1 billion. And I can't believe we're talking about $1 billion so casually, because films do not make $1 billion. So
it is not an easy feat. Look at the movies that you really love right now that are doing so well. Look at Sinners. Sinners is the commentary movie of the moment, and that's not breaking. That's I see that error. That is not breaking $1 billion. So I mean, it's a surprise. At any given moment, it's a surprise. But I hope it does. I hope keep that theme going.
let's move on to this one. I really like this one. I think you will as well.
Okay.
Batman 2 will continue without Matt Reeves as the director. Will they or won't they?
That is a really good question. Do you have answers for these two? Because I want to get your takes after.
Oh, yeah. No, I got
okay,
you.
Good.
I got you. I'm just putting you on the spot. If you want me to go first, I can always go first.
No. I can go first. I don't mind. I'll have you go first the next one. Right. It's hard. It's hard because like I'm trying to debate on one end, does Matt Reeves come back as director? But on the other hand, does Batman 2 happen? You know what I mean? I think that he does come. I think Batman 2 happens. I'm starting to think Batman 2 happens. I think it's going to be one of those projects that like there's just so much frustration along with the wait. But I think it does eventually happen. And I hope I think Matt Reeves does come back. I think he's spent enough time in this world and he knows that the want is there. It's honestly just a matter of getting him and James Gunn in tandem and getting the script right and getting it finished. And it seems like the discussion is more so getting the script right, waiting for the right script to come along. But I think we can all agree the bigger discussion is how does this fit into the larger plans of James Gunn's, and Peter Safran's overhaul of what they want to release, even with these Elseworlds projects. What about you? Do you think Matt Reeves returns?
For one, I love the Batman. And I think Matt Reeves is such a good filmmaker. I love the Planet of the Apes movies that he did. I think they're big and sprawling and heartfelt and personal for such a big movie. You know what I mean? Like he's so good at that balance. However, I think because DC is under new management with James Gunn and Peter Safran, and now we are hearing that Matt Reeves is still not producing the script and giving it to them is because of some medical drama with a family member or something like that. They're being a little coy, which they should be because it's his personal business. I think there's potential because right now we're in flux because we haven't seen Superman. And if Superman hits very hard, I do believe that they will just do their own Batman and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's very unfortunate, but we've seen the way Warner Brothers treats directors with Zack Snyder. When Zack Snyder was working on Justice League, his daughter unfortunately had a sudden death and he had, of course, to go handle that situation and mourn and be there for his family. And they did not wait for him. They hired Joss Whedon to continue the movie against his wishes. Of course, he would want to finish it. And the movie was terrible. And they were forced to do the Snyder, put out the Snyder cut. And we saw how that went. And they lost a lot of money on that. And so did they learn from that? Of course, Zaslav is, Warner Brothers under new management as well. So they could honor Matt Reeves and wait, especially how hot the Penguin and spin-offs of the Batman have been doing. So hot right now, Hansel.
So hot.
And so I think you're right. I want to be right that they will wait for Matt Reeves.
Right.
However, I'm going to go with they will continue Batman 2 without Matt Reeves as the director.
Without Matt Reeves. Let me ask you a part 2.
It makes me sad. I don't want to say it.
Let me ask you a part 2 to your own question. Who do you think would be a good replacement?
Zach Kreger.
Actually, I want to leave that up for whoever's in here. Zach Kreger? Really? From the whitest kid you know? You think
from Weapons?
From Barbarian to Weapons straight into Batman 2?
I think Resident Evil is a big test for him.
It's going to be a good test, yeah.
It is a huge franchise. It is a failing franchise because everything that has come out has been very bad and bombed heavily. There was a show, there was a movie that came out, nobody even remembers it. So I think it's a huge test for him to elevate a IP and see if he can handle it. Other than that, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. I think oh man, what's his name? Who did Nosferatu? For some reason I can always think of Ari Aster, but
no.
The Witch. Why can't I think of his name? Oh, I got it right here. I think Robert Eggers would be sick.
Eggers. The thing is, bro, we have so many good horror
young
filmmakers right now that it's just so
but
easy
the reason, if you can tell, the reason I am leaning towards horror is because I think what Matt Reeves established with like the 7 theme of it all in the first one, I think you can dive in a little bit more into the horror aspect of Batman a little bit harder, depending on who the villain is, of course. So yeah. But
I agree. I think living in this world, Gotham, especially in this particular Gotham, it is a character in its own, and I think it's made better by continuing that relationship. And you're right. If you bring in a horror director that can really continue that relationship with Gotham and its grittiness, I think it'll only be beneficial. It also really depends on who they're bringing back as a director too. So
Scott Derrickson, I thought, he's doing, Black Phone was fantastic. He's already done Doctor Strange, so he's done big budget. I think he didn't get to do a lot of things that he wanted to do on Doctor Strange with the horror-esque stuff. So I think there's a lot. Let's move on to this question. You're answering it first again.
I'm answering this one first.
Okay. Fantastic Four will not make more money than Thunderbolts at the box office.
Fantastic Four will... No, it's so far. No, Fantastic Four...
Will they or will they not make more?
They will make more. I think Fantastic Four possibly breaks $1 billion.
What?
I think
no Fantastic Four has done that, and no movie has done that since Endgame.
Well, no Fantastic Four movie had Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby.
Did Spider-Man No Way Home make $1 billion?
Spider-Man No Way Home made
with all the Spider-Mans? I think it did, right?
It was
if you have 3 Spider-Mans, you better be making $1 billion. Damn it. And I just want to keep saying $1 billion. $1 billion. They should remake the Lil Wayne song instead of $1 billion.
Spider-Man, it made really.
What's up?
Man, my memory is so bad because I guess I'm forgetting about this. It made $1.92 billion.
Wow.
Spider-Man No Way Home made nearly $2 billion.
Almost $2 billion. Okay, so you think this will be the first $1 billion MCU movie since Spider-Man No Way Home? Is that correct?
I think it definitely has the legs. I think when you factor in the Marvel Studios of it all.
Yeah,
I've heard of them. The MCU, you've heard of them. They've been around doing
it for a minute. Small little company.
Small little indie group, similar to, if you like A24, you might like them. I think when you take Marvel and the MCU and you take its history, I think you take Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, which are very popular, in demand, very well liked actors and actresses. Actors, if you want to keep it. And then I think if you really think about the hype about the return of the Fantastic Four back to Marvel, having the rights back and really being able to have this finally be a part of this world, and with the added benefit of it being teased in Thunderbolts, I think it has all the legs to be $1 billion movie. Now, do I think it does like No Way Home where it's like 1.89 or something crazy? No, I could be wrong. It could end its run at the 900 or so. But I think it at least gets close to $1 billion. I think it does really, really well. I don't think it's going to be one of those, Marvel or even Shang-Chi or one of those where it kind of sits at like a 600 million mark. I think it does really.
Shang-Chi was the pandemic. I think that got a lot of
slack, right.
But no, I will agree with you. I think, I don't know if it'll reach $1 billion. However, I do think that it will make more money than Thunderbolts. And like we said in the beginning of the show, this is a test to have this name change. If you throw around the Avengers makes money. So this is a test, but I do think Fantastic Four, I don't know. I mean, the last few Fantastic Four movies have been pretty garbage box office wise. So
yeah, the thing is I would kind of like do our best to kind of remove our expectation based on these original
based on
Fantastic Four movies.
The last ones, or
yeah, I don't particularly think anybody is not going to go see these movies because of those original movies. I think we're a good amount past that. I think if anything, the people who remember those movies, they want to see the difference. They want to see what a real Fantastic Four Marvel movie really looks like, with the ability to have it. Now we know that this is a standalone movie and it's not going to, doesn't take place in the greater Sacred Timeline MCU that we used to. It's its own universe until it, pivots and they enter the Sacred Timeline, of it all. So this is going to be a much more contained movie. But that being said, everybody's excited to see these characters start interacting with each other. And we already know so many of them. We already know that they're all, so many of them or all of them are showing back up for Doomsday at the very least. So yeah, my answer is I think it does better than Thunderbolts, and I think it breaks $1 billion.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I think it'll be better. I think it will make more money. Sorry, not be better. Those are two different things. It will make more money than Thunderbolts. Okay. All right. Moving on. We have, and we might do just 2 more and wrap it up. I do have some more, but Marvel will now make Florence Pugh the face of the MCU. Will they or won't they?
That actually is a really good question because it seems like that's the direction that they're headed. My question to you would be, who is the face of the MCU right now in comparison, to really make a comparison of the pivot?
So I'll go first on this one.
Sure.
I think they will make Florence Pugh the face of the MCU based on what you just said, because there is not one. And I think right now it's a great opportunity, one, to have a female lead, finally have her do and be the face of the franchise, which they did not do with Natasha Romanoff, played by Scarlett Johansson, which they didn't even give her a solar film until she was dead, which is ridiculous. So I think that there is a fantastic opportunity. One, she is the main character of Thunderbolts. 2, she is fantastic actress. And 3, I think this movie will make her a household name. And this is a great opportunity to make her a pivotal character within the next Avengers.
Yeah.
However, we do have the 2 Avengers films coming out, one next year and one the year after. And there isn't a lot of ties between her and Doomsday. That doesn't mean that she can't be a pivotal character in those movies. I do think it requires some very good writing, though, to make it make sense. Because right now, with Spider-Man having such big ties to Robert Downey's face, because it is the same face as Doom, same actor, I do think the storyline is there for Spider-Man to be the face of the franchise. However, he is owned by Sony, and it's hard to make someone the franchise when they are owned by another company. And so for me, I think Marvel will make Florence Pugh the face of the MCU, because right now, on both sides, audience and critics, all we are hearing is that she is fantastic and carries this movie. So I think it would be a missed opportunity if they don't make her the face of the MCU. What do you think?
I think that I think it could be. I'm really kind of I'm trying to understand like what, the Thunderbolts and Yelena specifically, what their place is in the grander scheme of things. Like, for example, Doomsday. I mean, when you get down to the brass tacks of it all, she's not super powered versus all these super powered beings, and yeah, you're right. You can make the argument that RDJ and definitely Tom Holland are faces of the MCU. You could also make the argument that Chris Hemsworth is still very much a face of the MCU.
Definitely.
And Benedict Cumberbatch in his own way. Not him being the face, but being a face.
A face.
But it's hard because she is so so marketable. Everybody loves her, and she's so great. She's so good, and she deserves to be the face. But at the same time, you know, Scarlett Johansson wasn't the face of the MCU. I mean, hell, you know, Mark Ruffalo wasn't the face of the MCU. So you can have these characters that are very impactful and are a face and are these main characters without necessarily being the face. I'm gonna say no, just to go count in years. I'm gonna say no, they don't make it a face. I think
but there's a difference between what you think they will do and what you want, right? What you would want.
Right.
Because so you would want her to, right?
I would be necessarily want, but I would be okay with
not opposed.
Okay. Yeah. But I think also another thing to remember is that, you know, the Fantastic Four are coming and they're going to be all up on everything. They're going to be in all the promotional stuff. So they're definitely going to become faces. And Tom Holland, Spider-Man, you know, I think you can make a very big argument that he's becoming the face of the MCU.
I know.
And he's got a whole Sony factor. He's got a whole bit of a trilogy coming out. And we know he's going to be in these other movies in some way, shape, or form. Yes. So okay, you know, I think we're gonna start rolling out. I think we are gonna see her be a face. I think we're definitely gonna see like a Yelena or whatever, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Shang-Chi kind of mixture. Like those are gonna be the faces until we start getting some, you know, additional castings for other movies coming up, and obviously X-Men. You know, once that all gets going, those people. So it's always gonna be a constantly adjusting thing. But yeah, I don't think that they will. I don't think that she'll be the face of the MCU in the same way that like RDJ and Chris Evans were. Yeah, but that's not saying that she shouldn't, because she very well should and deserving.
I'm gonna go the opposite. I do want it. But we'll see. What do you guys think? Let us know. Are you guys seeing Thunderbolts? Are you excited about new Avengers? We didn't spoil it. Once again, we didn't spoil it. Let us know. All right, let's check. All right, let's go. I had another Marvel one, but let's just go with this last one, okay?
Let's do one more. All right, let's go.
We'll do this last one. The new Jurassic World will make over $1 billion.
Yes.
Okay. Just
I'm going to say yes, because
Jurassic World Dominion gross $1.001 billion. This is exactly, $1 billion a movie franchise.
Do they still have the lens? That's exactly where my mind went. Was that every Jurassic World movie every Jurassic World movie they've performed. The first one, off of a $150 to $250 million budget, did a $1.6 billion. The one before that, I can't remember.
1.3 for Fallen Kingdom.
1.3, and then like you said, for Dominion, 1.004. So you got essentially nearly $4 billion off of like
1.6 for Jurassic World.
Yeah, $1 billion budget, and you've made $4 billion off
we did see that Avatar thing of it still making $1 billion, but steadily going down. The last one barely made $1 billion. You're saying yes, this will make more than the last one. ScarJo power.
I think it does. I think it has the ScarJo power. I think. Let me ask you this: who's a more box office banker? Chris Pratt or Scarlett Johansson?
Chris Pratt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Only because, and I hate this,
he's a man.
We live in a very sexist world.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very unfortunate. That is absolutely the reason.
It's ridiculous
that he is. Now, you know, you can make the argument that, like, you know, there are some of the biggest box office. I mean, who would you consider the biggest female box office draw right now? Gal Gadot?
Scarlett Johansson. Margot Robbie.
Oh, absolutely, Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Margot Robbie.
All the way. But ScarJo is up there. I mean, she has a lot of movies, but
I think the thing with ScarJo is that she's just been around for so long. You know, she started relatively younger, so she's been around for so long.
Yeah, there's recency bias. People are like,
exactly. People are always gonna want what's new, you know. And you know, 10 years from now, it won't be Margot Robbie anymore. She'll still be a fantastic, wonderful actress, but there'll be somebody new. Like, I mean, look at Margaret Qualley. Like, her profile is just building and building and building. Yeah. And obviously you have
maybe
Sweeney's and all these other younger actresses.
I know this is off topic, but I see her taking that Star Wars role that Mikey turned down. I could see that for sure.
See Margaret Qualley
taking, you know how Mikey turned it down. I could see them putting her into that role. We don't know what the role is, but she is of that look and of that caliber of actress. So I could see a very clean transition. But we're on Jurassic.
She looks like she could be from a different planet. Yeah. Anyway, about the Jurassic World of it all. Yeah, I think it does break $1 billion. I think it has a track record, and you've got Scarlett.
Too. Let's not get twisted.
Love Ursula. Yeah, but I don't think people are going. I don't think people are going.
No, I agree.
People aren't going to Jurassic World to see him. They're going to see
ScarJo.
They're going to see Jurassic World. They're not even going to see Scarlett Johansson.
They're going for the dinosaurs. You're right. The dinosaurs. The dinosaurs are the big draw.
100%. I think people.
Not the humans.
I think people sleep a little bit.
By the dinosaurs.
Sleep a little bit on how much they want to go see, these dinosaurs, and not necessarily the actors. So yeah, I think it breaks $1 billion. I think it certainly could.
Awesome. I agree. Actually,
it's good. Or do you not?
Just because of the trajectory and barely making $1 billion the last one. So I will say, and this will now be on record, I will say that it will not make $1 billion.
Whoa. Okay. Wow. Watch, it's gonna do like 985. You're like, told you.
Yeah, it'll do 9999. Awesome. Well, that is it for Will They or Won't They? Think a fun little game that we can play as movies come out. There was a lot I didn't get to. Daredevil being in the next Avengers, some Mission Impossible questions, stuff like that. So I think as these movies, as we get deeper in the summer, we can still play around with this box office and will they or won't they questions. So let us know what you think, though. Did you like that segment? You want to see more of that? You want to see different stuff? Let us know.
Awesome. Love it. All right, guys. Well, if you're following us or if you're using social media, follow us on TikTok, Threads, Instagram, X, YouTube. What else is there? Everything. It's at the Geek Gospel. Our Facebook
Apple
being
Podcast, Spotify.
At the Geek Gospel Show. Yeah, listen to our show on Apple Podcast or Spotify, in which all these go up. Evan, that's it for me. Do you have anything you want to leave on?
No, that's all. We will be back on Friday to cover any other news that has come out, and let us know if we missed anything. There's always things that fall through the cracks or anything that you think we should touch on in the next show. We would love to hear from you guys. Thank you for tuning in. This is live. This is the most live viewers that we have had. We went up to 28 viewers today, which is fantastic. We are also on a new streaming platform, so we are getting a little bit more technical, looking a little bit sharper. Thank you for hanging with us, and tune in next time.
Love it. Well, you guys have a beautiful day, and we'll see you guys next time on the Geek Gospel.
Bye-bye.